Hello my friends. So in this video we're going to continue on about Enoch and these watchers, the fallen angels that came and deceived the whole world in the days of Jared and brought down all the brought down all the heavenly knowledge to man. And these are what the ancient civilizations called the gods, the Egyptians, the Sumerians, the Aztecs, how they talk about how their gods came from the heavens above in the skies. The fallen angels are those guys. So we're going to recap. In the last video we learned that Enoch was the first person to be raptured. We learned that he's the first person to be raptured, and him and Elijah will be the two witnesses coming back. And we learned that it was 200 Watcher class angels that came down in the days of Jared. 200 Watcher class angels, and they had sex with the daughters of men. And we learned that each angel taught specific things. Like we learned that Azazel taught men to make swords, knives, and shields, breastplates, and made known the metals of the earth and the art of working them. So this is where all that old technology comes from, and this is how we have weapons today. And then we also learned we also learned how he also taught the working of metals, and we also learned how he's this angel who brought bracelets, ornaments, and the use of anatomy and beautifying of the eyelids and all kinds of costly stones and coloring textures. He's the one who brought makeup and all that stuff, this particular angel, Azazel. And we also learned how Semyaza taught enchantments, the cutting of roots. This other angel, Aramos, the resolving of enchantments. Baraki Zhao taught astrology. Kokobel taught the constellations. Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds. Erakil, the signs of the earth. Shemshael, the signs of the sun. Sariel, the course of the moon. And so we learned that, and we learned how these fallen angels had children who were giants, who were 300 cubits tall, 450 feet, the clash of the titans. And we learned how the fallen angels taught their children this technology, and this is how the fallen angel technology and heavenly knowledge is still with us today in the forms of our technologies, the iPhone 7s, a gun, atomic bombs. We still have knives, breastplates. We still have all the weapons that these angels brought down. So this, in the last video we were learning, this is the extraterrestrial origins. And then we also learned how the fallen angels, they were bound in the earth in the Euphrates River. So that's where those fallen angels are. So now we're going to continue on in this video and we're going to learn about what Enoch told these fallen angels, and how the fallen angels tried to make a petition to try to get themselves forgiven for all the sin that they brought to the earth. So let's continue on in chapter 12. It says, Enoch, thou scribe of righteousness, go declare to the watchers of the heaven who have left the high heaven, the holy eternal place, and have defiled themselves with women, and have done as the children of earth do, and have taken unto themselves wives. Yea, ye have wrought great destruction on the earth, and ye shall have no peace nor forgiveness of sin, inasmuch so as they delight themselves in their children. The murder of their beloved ones shall they see, and over the destruction of their children shall they lament. And they shall make supplication unto eternity, but mercy and peace shall ye not obtain. So right here we're learning this is the severe judgment that's coming down on these fallen angels, that Enoch is having the honor of telling these fallen angels. He has the honor of reprimanding these fallen angels. This is part of the reason why Enoch was the first person to be raptured, alongside how Enoch saw all the heavenly secrets. Enoch saw all the heavenly secrets, and how he went into the heavens to teach the angels, and Yah raptured him up. So we're learning how the angels in heaven, Michael, Uriel, Raphael, how they told Enoch on behalf of the word of Yah, how Yah wanted Enoch to go tell these angels, these fallen angels, and to reprimand them about the severe judgment that was coming. So now you're learning how powerful Enoch was. He had the honor of reprimanding these fallen angels and telling them their judgment and bringing the judgment and bringing the word of Yah to him. And we also learned in that last video how Enoch is the first person to write down the words of Yah, and he's the first person to get the understanding of Yah. Okay? Enoch's books are the original texts, the original words. These are the first words of Yah. Everything else came after. And we also learned how the book of Enoch is way older than the Egyptians, than the Sumerians, because this is pre-flood. Noah ain't even around town yet. Okay? Well, Noah is right now we're at the point where Noah is probably a young man now. He's just being born. So we learned how this part of the severe judgment that's coming down on these fallen angels is the murder of their beloved ones shall they see, and over the destruction of their children shall they lament, and they shall make supplication unto eternity, but mercy and peace they shall not obtain. And Enoch went and said to Azazel, Thou shalt have no peace, and a severe sentence has gone forth against thee to put thee in bonds. And we talked about how Azazel is the one who's catching the most heat. He's catching all the sins for this action, because remember, Azazel is the one who taught man how to build knives, swords, breastplates, made known to them the working of the metals, made known to them how to use metals. This is ancient technology that our government today, our global elite, are looking for in Antarctica. How they're looking for this ancient technology in Peru, all over the world where giants were. Okay. And then we're also going to talk about, after we're done with this lesson, we're going to go back to what Moses was talking about. Because remember, Moses said there were giants in the earth in those days and after that. Meaning Moses saw some giants in his day. And we're going to learn how important and how even more important giants became after the flood. Okay? So we are talking about here. Oops. Camera fell over there. Alright, and it says, Enoch went and said, Azazel, thou shalt have no peace. A severe sentence has gone forth against thee to put thee in bonds, and thou shalt not have toleration nor request granted to thee, because of the unrighteousness which thou hast taught, and because of all the works and of ungodliness, and unrighteousness, and sin which thou hast shown to men. Remember, he's shown them all the technology, the heavenly knowledge. This is what all the ancient cultures were talking about, how their gods came from the heavens and brought down technology and seeded mankind and all that nonsense. Yeah, they're talking about what happened with the fallen angels and how they came and had sex with the daughters of men and bore these great giants and all this. And it says, let's continue on. And it says, Then I went and spoke to them all, and they were all afraid, and fear and trembling seized them. So now Enoch is going to the fallen angels, and he's looking at all of them. He's reprimanding all these angels, and they were in fear, and they were trembling, and fear seized them and all this, because they knew now that this great punishment was going to come down on them. But they already knew what they were going to do, because remember, at the beginning, Semyaza said, I fear I will have to pay the price for this great sin alone. And remember, all 200 Watcher class angels agreed and made that pact that they would do this thing and they would not back away from it. So all the angels knew that they were going to do a great sin. And of course they knew this because they were heavenly beings. So they knew the words of Yah. They knew what would happen to them if they disrespected Yah and if they didn't keep the commandments that they were ordained to keep. So they knew very well what they were doing. Alright, so this is Enoch saying, Then I went and spoke to them all, and they were all afraid, and fear and trembling seized them. And they besought me to draw up a petition for them, that they might find forgiveness, and to read their petition in the presence of Yah of heaven. So now these angels had the audacity to ask Enoch to write a petition on their behalf after they had done all their wickedness, and after they knew very well what they were going to do. Now these angels had the audacity to try to ask for a petition. And obviously we know that that petition is not going to get fulfilled, okay? So here we go. And it says, and they besought me to draw up a petition for them, that they might find forgiveness, and to read their petition in the presence of Yah. For from thenceforth they could no longer speak with him, nor lift up their eyes to heaven, for shame of their sins, for which they had been condemned. So now you're learning that after they had been bound and fallen, they could no longer look up to the heavens. They could no longer speak with Yah. So this is why they had to ask Enoch to do it for them, because they were condemned, and they were definitely nowhere near. They would definitely be nowhere near being able to get back into the kingdom of heaven after what they had done, because we still paying the price for it today. Look at all the destruction that's on the earth with all the weapons we have today, with all the nuclear bombs and all this stuff, okay? And it says, then I wrote out their petition and the prayer in regard to their spirits and their deeds individually, and each and in regard to their request that they should find forgiveness and length. And I went off and sat at the waters of Dan, in the land of Dan, to the south of the west of Hermon. I read their petition until I fell asleep. And behold, a dream came to me, and visions fell down upon me, and I saw visions of chastisement, and a voice came bidding me to tell the sons of heaven, and to rebuke them. And when I awaked, I came unto them, and they were all sitting together, weeping in Ashbajel, which is between Lebanon and Sensor, with their faces covered. And I recounted before them all the visions which I had seen in sleep, and I began to speak the words of righteousness, and to rebuke the heavenly watchers. So now Enoch is talking about how he had this vision. He was in Lebanon, which is a place that is still around today, in the land of Dan, and he was seeing all these visions, and then now he's coming back. And he was telling the watchers what happened and what Yah had to say about their petition. So now we continue on in chapter 14.